What's up? What's up? What's up, y'all? I'm back. I was out for the weekend. We'll do a live later on this week about how my weekend went. Um, and I wasn't sure if I was gonna do like a double live, but honestly, I watched the Braxtons, and I was like, well, I'll do it tomorrow. But I just got some stuff in my mind that I just need to go on and get it off my chest. Okay, I just need to go on and get it off my chest. We will still be back at 9:15 for Potomac. It might be 9:20-ish, but we'll be back in about an hour and 20 minutes for Potomac. But listen, hey everybody, hey Cajun, what's up, Volvo? Cookie, you need to come next time. The men were outnumbered. It was just 2 men and all us ladies. You gotta come and help the fellas out. You and the informed. I gotta get some of my fellas to come out. Poor Cajun and Chuck, they were the only fellas with us. So listen, I'm gonna start from the beginning, and we're gonna come. I'm gonna start at the end. We're gonna come back to the beginning because I'm gonna do this review a little different. I'm gonna just go ahead and get the stupid stuff out the way because y'all already know what I really want to talk about. So let's talk about the other auxiliary stuff. Trina got her real estate license, yay. Tamar is getting BBL, liquid BBL. She's scared of needles, but she's been doing all this cosmetic surgery. She said she got her boobs done. Look like she's getting like Botox and stuff like that. Listen, we can look at Tamar and see she's been getting work done, and I'm not mad. I already told you I ain't never gonna shame somebody for doing what they feel like they need to do to make themselves look better. I don't think it's gotten excessive. I think Tamar looks beautiful, other than that hairline, but that ain't my business. Tawana's getting married and she's acting and directing and Tubi's best. Good for her. Toni wants to move into production. We know that she actually signed a deal with Lifetime, produced 2 movies named after 2 of her songs. So I think it wasn't Man Enough for Me or Just Be a Man About It or something, child. But go for, very similar to what Mary J. Blige did with Heart of a Woman and Real Love. So congratulations. Hey, everybody coming in. Hey, y'all. So congratulations to all of them. Okay, great. What else? Did I miss any of the small storylines before we get to the elephant in the room? I'm trying to think before I go any further. I really think that's the main. Those are the little small storylines. So let's get to the elephant in the room, what everybody's talking about. And let me be honest with y'all. And y'all might get mad at me when I'm getting ready to say what I'm getting ready to say, but at least in this episode, I'm Team Tamar. I never thought I'd say that. But at least for this episode, now I ain't telling y'all how long it's gonna last. I'm not telling y'all how long it's gonna last, but on this episode, based on what I saw in this episode, baby, I'm Team Tamar. Let me say this. So Tamar has a podcast. The podcast didn't just start when this show started. Tamar's been doing her podcast for a while. She's been inconsistent with it, but she's been doing one for a while. She has had her sisters on her podcast and other people on her podcast that she's had conflict with. So the podcast is not new. Around the time that Ashley decided to go on her social media and tell her story was around the time that they started filming. And here's how I know. And I went back to make sure. Here's how I know. Ashley dropped her TikTok video or Instagram video. She did like a part 1 and a part 2. And it might have been a couple of weeks later. It was not months. It was not an extended period of time. It was literally a couple of weeks later when Ashley came back on her social media and was like, guess where I've been? Because I subscribed to her and I've been following her ever since. And I came down here and I told y'all, because I didn't even know they were getting ready to start filming for the next season of the Braxton show, of the Braxtons. I said, y'all, Ashley just came. She just got back to Spain from America. She said she went to Atlanta to film Tamar's podcast. And I did at the time say it was messy. At the time, I did say it was messy. But I remember the timeline of when it happened. So for them to try to make it seem like it conveniently was right before they were getting ready to film, the timeline was not ridiculous. Like, Tamar literally reached out to Ashley within a couple of weeks of her telling her story. So it wasn't like Tamar waited 6 months and was like, oh, we can ready to start filming. Let me get Ashley on my podcast. And I also feel like I believe Tamar when she says, when I needed help, they weren't there for me. Now, do I think that Tamar is innocent? No, I think it's ridiculous that you haven't talked to your niece in years. Well, I shouldn't say talk to, haven't seen your niece in years. Yes, your niece lives in Barcelona, but y'all fly. Like, y'all travel. Y'all tour. Y'all leave the country. Y'all have the coins to leave the country. You have the coins to go to Barcelona and go visit this woman. That's your niece. So when you were like, so how long you been gone? 10 years. Oh my gosh. That was weird to me. And I understand everybody's family is not like my family, but y'all know I'll go up to Detroit to check on mine. You know? So I don't understand how she been gone for 10 years and you ain't been to go visit her. Or you ain't sent her a plane ticket to come and visit you. But that's not, you know, again, because I'm just trying to be fair about it. I'm trying to be fair. Hey, everybody coming in, trying to be fair about the situation. So the episode, because we got the other stuff out the way. The episode starts off with the clip we've all seen. We've all talked about it. We've digested it, where they're all at the table. And we find out that Tony has sent Tamar a cease and desist so that she does not put the podcast out that has Lauren on there. Cajun, I bet you will. Did she used to live with Tamar? I don't remember. I forgot that this is the niece that did used to sing backup and used to tour. So maybe she did at one point in time live with Tamar. I do remember when her sister passed away, and I believe when the autopsy came out, it was drugs. They found a nice way of saying it on the show, but it was drugs. That was what the news said. I didn't say it. Okay. Here's my problem with this whole scenario. And I did a TikTok last night about it. And I'm going to sort of reiterate what I had to say. There was a scene. So after they had the tape, we've seen the majority of what we saw, that first scene, we've seen it. So I don't need me going through what happened at the table. We saw that whole first scene. Then we see where Tamar is having dinner, lunch, or whatever with Ashley. And at the same time, Trina and Tawanda are talking. They go over to Trina's house and they're talking. Here's my problem. Trina, you're not a victim in this. Trina, you're not a victim. See, when Tawanda was like, she was like, well, I'm not trying to victim shame. And Tawanda was like, well, you are a victim. No, she's not. Somebody explain to me how Trina is a victim in this situation. Trina is no victim. Because I went back, because I said, I want to make sure I know what the hell I'm talking about. Everybody in that family was aware of that situation when it happened. This was not a blind side to anyone. It wasn't like Ashley was telling a story that the rest of the family didn't know what happened. No, what happened was she blindsided y'all with going public with her story, but y'all knew what happened to that girl. And maybe even more than what she's telling us. But the text messages, she showed us the proof or the emails where there was an acknowledgement that this brother-in-law, who we now know was Gabe, was inappropriate with her. And Trina's response was to send her back home to her father when she found out about it, rather than deal with the issue as a family and say, hey, baby girl, you did nothing wrong. You did, by sending her back to her father when you found out about the text messages, send a message to her that she did something wrong. And then when the father found out about it and he confronted you, I still didn't see where nothing. Clearly I'm on the outside looking in, but I still don't see where what was done. Because Trina, you were still with this man, even married, divorced him and married him again. In the midst of, you knew that at the very least, he was inappropriate with your niece. Not that it would have been okay if it was some random woman on the street, but your niece, your blood, your brother's daughter. Trina, you are no victim. And I hated watching Tawanda bend over backwards to pacify Trina and make Trina feel good about the decisions that she made. You made some fucked up decisions. And then what you wanted was everybody to be quiet about it. So now y'all not really mad at Gabe for what he did. You mad at Ashley for telling the world. You're embarrassed that your family secret has been spilled. All those years that y'all did a reality TV show and Gabe and Trina played out the on the show this drama. At no point in time was it even ever alluded to that Gabe was inappropriate with a family member. Y'all, you know what? The way that y'all hate Traci's husband, Kevin, I don't know all the ins and outs of Traci and Kevin's marriage, but here's what I do know. I know that Traci loved that man to her dying day. I know that whatever happened between Traci and Kevin, they resolved whatever happened between the two of them. And y'all did not give Gabe half the slack that y'all have given Kevin. Y'all still hate that man. You didn't let your nephew film on this season because production said, well, we want Kevin on the show. We bring back Kevin Jr. We want Kevin Sr. because we think it's fair that he tell his story. And Tawanda said, over my dead body, he will not make another coin off of this family. But I didn't see that same level of, I didn't see all of that for Gabe. I mean, I know y'all didn't like Gabe and all of that, but I didn't see all of this for Gabe. Hey, Niecy, how was your birthday? You didn't ever text me back. I asked you what you was doing for your birthday. You never responded. So I'm assuming you was having a good time. I'm just like, I'm listening and I'm watching Tawanda bend over backwards. Well, you were a victim. Tell me how. How was Trina a victim in any of this? And then for Trina to be like, well, I acknowledge, I don't want to be seen as victim shaming, and I acknowledge her feelings. Like, you act like it was something you found out about just now. Ma'am, you have known this since it happened. You have known about this since it happened. And now you have this young lady, and I don't know all of her story, so I can't say that Ashley is a perfect child or made all the right decisions. I don't know her story. But what I do know is, here's a child who has chosen to leave the whole freaking country. The whole freaking country. And live alone rather than deal with y'all. Trina said, well, why didn't she call me? My number hasn't changed, but her number's changed. Why didn't she reach out to me before she went to social media? Because she did try to talk to you, Trina. See, we're not going to rewrite history. She did try to talk to you, Trina, and you sent her home. You made her feel like she had done something wrong, and you sent her home. And then you stayed with the man that did it. And it wasn't even an accusation. The text messages were there. You saw them. You know how you saw them? Because we saw them. So now the child in this scenario was supposed to reach out to you again? and come to you again and trust you again so that you could throw it back? Do what? I'm sorry, what? So the child was supposed to call you and say what, Trina? What was that young lady? And I know she's an adult now, but she's still the younger in this scenario. So that child was supposed to do what? Call you and say what, Trina? Did you ever get on a plane and fly your ass to Barcelona to talk to her and say, listen, I handled that badly. I handled that badly, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I did not validate your experience, and I did not protect you as your aunt in that scenario. I am sorry. Because what that tells me is you still haven't healed, and you still feel like you handled it the way you should have handled it. And maybe on some level, Gabe wasn't that wrong in the scenario. And then you bring your ass down to social media after the episode airs and have the nerve to still defend this mofo, talking about, well, I don't think it's fair to talk about this because he's not here to defend himself. Baby, he had 20 years to defend himself. He took that to his grave. And I mean, you know, I'm sorry, he passed away, you know, but he had time he had time. But here's what y'all don't get to do. None of y'all. And I'm going to take Tamar out of this equation for now. I'm going to put an asterisk by that because I reserve the right to come back around to Tamar. But for this episode, I'm taking Tamar out of this equation. Y'all asses. I lost it. But y'all know what I was saying. Y'all don't get to tell that woman how she's going to process her experience because y'all didn't help her process it when she needed y'all to. I've been home. Child, my flight landed at 12:30. I've been here. You see what I'm saying, y'all? Trina, you came down here. You really came down here defending Gabe. Are you crazy? So what that tells me is fast forward where we are in 2025, you still don't get it. Because what you should have done was put your ass down here and apologize and said, I could have handled that better. And I've been talking to my niece and we are processing through all of it. You can't tell somebody that they can only speak on their trauma before somebody die. You don't get to tell people that. This woman is in therapy now, and her therapist told her she needed to tell her story, how she felt comfortable telling her story. And she felt comfortable telling her story by putting her live button, hitting her live button, and telling it ain't her fault that her family is a famous family and people knew who she was and put two and two together. That ain't on her. Because if y'all didn't want her to come out here and tell it publicly, then y'all should have handled it privately 20 years ago when she came to y'all and said, hey, look at my phone. Look at these messages. Now, I'm reading the chat as I'm talking. I just didn't want to lose my thought. Somebody said, well, what about her brother? Well, her and her brother don't have, because what a part of the story that a lot of people aren't talking about is that she's also talked about the abuse that she suffered at the hands of her stepmom. Michael remarried, and okay, hold on, Cheryl. I'm gonna come back to that. Thank you. I done lost it. Oh, Michael actually has sent a cease and desist, so she can't talk about him anymore because she was coming down here talking about her experiences with her stepmom and how her stepmom was abusive and wouldn't feed her and her sister and treated them differently and all of that. So he actually sent her a cease and desist. So that's part of why she hasn't been talking as much, is because she got a cease and desist from her brother. Tamar got a cease and desist from Tony. Like, again, instead of dealing with the process y'all worried about public sentiment. Now, Cheryl said actually he did mention it on TV when he apologized to Trina, said he was sorry about the inappropriate text messages, but they never mentioned who he was texting. Well, let me say this, Cheryl. I hear what you're saying, boo. And again, I didn't watch every episode of every season of the Braxtons and Braxton Family Values, but until Trina come down here and tell us that that's what he was talking about, because we know that Gabe had multiple affairs. So I don't know who Gabe was talking about. I don't believe that it was only one person that he had inappropriate conversations with. So I hear what you're saying, Cheryl, but until somebody tell me that's who he was talking about, I'm going to just go with he ain't. And why you apologizing to Trina? Now, one thing that has been consistent with Tamar has said that she was violated as a child. She never said who did it, but she said she was violated as a child, and that basically, I don't want to put words in her mouth. I'm not going to say that people said nobody believed her, but she didn't get the help she needed. She also said in this episode that when she reached out for help, that nobody helped her and that she made a decision which was worse. And I think she's referring to the attempted, unaliving that she did a few years back when she was dating that guy. Remember the African guy with the dreads and stuff? She was dating him. I think that's what she was talking about. And I feel like she was saying that she did reach out for help and nobody was there to help her. Now, do I think that excuses all of Tamar's, I ain't going to say that. But what I am going to say is, even on Ayanla, I believe that's when Tamar opened up about being violated. But don't quote me because that might not be where it was. But y'all get it to me. Gabe was probably right. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know that that's who Gabe was talking about. And even if that's who Gabe was talking about, then the apology wasn't for Trina. Why are you apologizing to Trina? David, yes. Thank you, Auntie David. So I'm thinking that might be what Tamar is speaking of now. I'm going to be honest and say, I just keep going back to when Tony told them people, if y'all weren't my sisters, we wouldn't be friends. And I think that's where they are at this point. I think they film together, and that's pretty much about it. Tawanda and Trina, I think, are genuinely friends that hang out, that spend time together. And I think that Tamar and Tony, they're on again, off again. I think they have moments where they're real cool. They hang out. And then I think there are times when they might go months without speaking. But I honestly think that the only time they are really together is when they're filming. Let me tell y'all something. And I didn't watch last season because I just didn't want to sit through a whole season of the Traci, and I didn't want to sit through a whole season of that. Let me tell y'all something. There is absolutely no way in hell that my sister is dying and we as a family collectively keep it from one of the siblings. Ain't no way in hell. When Tamar said she didn't know that Traci was sick, that let me know right there where their level, where their family ties were. Because I understand that Traci and Tamar had some bad. I understand they fell out and it was bad. I get it. I get that. But it's no way I wouldn't be able to live with myself. That's one of them situations where I'm gonna ask for forgiveness instead of permission. Ain't no way in hell. Ain't no way in hell. And the fact that Tamar said she ain't know, and the fact that y'all kept it from Tamar, that says a lot. And I know, don't get me wrong, I know Tamar, listen. Y'all know I have given it to Tamar, and I'm probably going to give it to her again before this season is over with. But baby, some stuff I just gotta be like, are you serious? My problem also is how they had no problem putting Traci's family on blast, but now when it's Trina's family, it should be kept inside. Yeah, because they sure didn't have no problem exploiting all of what was going on with Traci, even lying on Traci. But yeah, I know I talked about that last year. Somebody else said, Evelyn and the father, where was he in all of this and why they didn't step in? Let me say this, and I'm gonna say respectfully, even though I'm about to say something disrespectful because these are my elders. I'm gonna just say respectfully, but I know what I'm getting ready to say is disrespectful. I know. Okay, hold on, Kim. I understand that that's what Traci wanted, but that's why I said I would have to just ask for forgiveness instead of permission because I wouldn't have done it. Traci did say she didn't want them to tell Tamar. That was Traci, but I wouldn't have done it. That's what I'm saying. Ain't no way in hell that one of my siblings is dying and I don't tell my other sibling. That's me. I can't tell nobody else how to move. Hey, Papa, I can't tell nobody else how to move. I'm telling you, for me, I ain't doing it. Now, it's one thing if it was like, oh, well, she was having some minor surgery. She didn't really want nobody to know. But they knew that woman was dying. It ain't no way in hell. Now, that's me. I understand everybody's different and everybody got to move the way they move. But that ain't going to be on me. I'm telling Tamar, and I just had to deal with the consequences on the other side. Sorry, not sorry. Cuss me out, call me all kinds of whatever. But I wouldn't be able to do that. That's on me. Now, let me get back to these parents. I know in the past, people have always wanted to debate about one parent being the problem or one parent being the cause and all of that. And we want to, well, he had the affair. Well, she did this. Well, he did that. Let me tell you something. Ain't neither one of them parents ain't shit when it come to them kids. I'm going to say it again for the people in the back. Neither one of them ain't shit when it come to them kids. Tiffany G says, and had you would have done it, you and Tamar wouldn't have been there because that's what Traci wanted / needed. Okay. I just had to live with that. I'm not doing that. Now, again, I just had to live with that. That's fine. If Traci said both of y'all get y'all asses out, I just would have had to live with that. I just would have had to live with that. But that's fine. I mean, your point is valid. Now, Tamar did end up coming at the end. I didn't watch all the last season, so for those of you that watched it, if I'm wrong, correct me. But I believe Tamar was there like at the end. I think all the sisters were there at the end. But Tamar was the last to know what was happening, I believe. Now, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but I just remember that clip. Now, let me tell you why I said neither one of them parents ain't shit. Because as I have watched this show, I have seen, in my opinion, where both of those parents have used those kids as a toy. You know what I'm saying? And I believe that Mama Evelyn, this is my opinion. I don't know. I ain't had no conversation with none of these people. I believe that Evelyn and Michael Sr., I believe their marriage was already over. And when I say over, I don't mean they weren't. They were clearly living in the same house, still moving as a married couple. But I don't believe their marriage was good. That doesn't excuse the affair. The affair was wrong. Period. Full stop. The affair was wrong. So I feel like both of them had shit with them. But I also feel like both of them allowed their children to be used as pawns in the divorce game. And I will say this, and this is my opinion. You can still be mad at that man. You can still hate that man. You can hate that man until you die, because that's your business. But I think that it is fucked up when parents use their kids as pawns in their situation. I think it is fucked up when you can't get over what that man did to you and you allow your children to be a part of your revenge. That is what I believe Evelyn did. And that's part of the reason why Traci became the black sheep of the family, is because Traci didn't play that game with Evelyn. She stayed up here in Maryland. She maintained a relationship with her father. He maintained a relationship with her. She did her, she got pregnant. She married Kevin. They built their family. She didn't allow the lore of the Braxton legacy to get her caught up in all of that. And I personally feel like Evelyn used those kids as a pawn. But I also feel like, in my opinion, Michael didn't fight hard enough. That's my opinion. I don't know these people, but that's my opinion. My daddy and my oldest bro haven't spoken in many years. When my daddy had a stroke last month, I kept my bro updated every step of the way. The issue is between and they can't put that guilt on me. Or between them and they can't put that guilt on me. Yeah, I mean, listen, again, I know that everybody's family situation isn't mine, and I know everybody doesn't feel the way I feel about different things. You said, but Michael couldn't fight her and the children. What you mean? Why he fighting the children? Why would he be fighting the children? Yeah, I agree. Michael started a new family and let Evelyn's story bitter and poison the kid. Right. I'm not saying he didn't fight at all. I'm not saying he didn't try. I'm saying this is my opinion. I'm saying I don't think he fought hard enough. I think at a certain point he was like, I can't keep, I'm tired. Because again, remember when the shit fell down, nobody was living in that house but Tamar. Everybody else was gone. So these kids were old enough that Miss Evelyn it wasn't like they were kids and they could only see their daddy when Miss Evelyn would drive them to his house or when he would come and get them. These were grown ass kids. I mean, these kids were grown. I think Tamar and maybe one other daughter might have been the only two still in the house, but Tony was gone, Tawanda was gone, and I think Trina was gone. So they were old enough to maintain a relationship with their father. What I'm saying is, what I mean when I say he didn't fight hard enough, my thing is you allow Evelyn to basically control that interaction. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. And I'm not saying he never called them. I'm not saying he never reached out to them. I'm just saying I think because it was a lot easier than dealing with Evelyn. Hell, we see her on this show. We have seen how she talks to those girls, even in their grown, when they go against her, when they don't do what she wants them to do. We have seen how she talks to those women. I ain't gonna call them girls, those women. And if she's still talking to them like that in their 40s and 50s, can you imagine how she was handling things when they were in their 20s and teens? See? So that's why I say both of them. But at the end of the day, I have questions. I'm side-eyeing Ashley's daddy too, Michael Jr. Again, I don't know the whole story, but I'm side-eyeing you too, because again, and I know I'm not a parent, so let me just, before y'all tell me, well, you're not a parent, you don't understand. I know I'm nobody's damn parent. I just said that, Kim. Kim, we're agreeing. I said that they were old enough that if they wanted to maintain a relationship with their father, they could have. I said that. Anyway, but again, I have to say, Why you ain't get on a plane and go see your daughter? Why you ain't go visit your child? When she came down on the internet and she's telling her story, I need adults to get out of their own. Stop making it about you. You may not have liked that your daughter was telling family business, but she started the whole thing off by saying, "Hey, I've been in therapy. And my therapist has told me I need to try to figure out how I can help people with my story. And this is what I've decided I'm going to do." So why you ain't pick up the phone and call your child? Why you ain't get on a plane and go visit your child? That woman said she ain't been in the United States in 5 years. Michael, when's the last time you've seen your child? And again, we don't know the whole story. We don't know the whole story. But baby, when is the last time you seen your child? Tamar said she ain't seen the girl in 10 years since the funeral of her sister. As an aunt, you didn't reach out to your niece? What about the other sisters, Tony, Tawanda, Trina? Now, we know Traci maintained a relationship with them. We know that. But they lost this Ashley lost her sister very tragically. Have y'all been keeping in touch with her? Have y'all been, see. But Trina want to sit here and be the victim. I disagree. Formerly, Miss Gigi said, "I think it's something strange about grown children who call their mom mommy." I call my mom mommy. Depends. It depends. I don't think that's strange. I think whatever you grew up calling them is what you call them. I call my dad. I call him daddy. I'm like, dad, daddy. Like, I don't think that's strange. But that's how you feel. Thank you, Chanel. Chanel said, "I raise more children than anybody." Yeah. But again, that's just my 2 cents. Like I said, the episode, to be honest with you, outside of the Ashley stuff, the rest of the episode was pretty boring to me, if I'm being honest. Right. I don't know what else we supposed to call our parents. I wish, right. Kim said, "Do you call your parents by their first name?" Right. Like, what do you call your mom? Or what do you say? What do you call your mom? Miss Evelyn appeared mad at Traci's house. She kept relationships with those she was against. Traci is the only one who kept in touch with the father and accepted his current wife. Right. Yeah. So, and again, and let me just say this, and this is the last time I say about it, because I know everybody has their opinion. Everybody has a right to their opinion. I understand that Traci and Tamar had a very complicated relationship. I get it. I do. I understand it. But I also feel like that woman was on her deathbed. And that's just me. That's just me. But again, everybody handles things differently, and we all have to be okay with our decisions. And if y'all are okay with that decision, I can't tell y'all it's wrong. I can't tell y'all it's wrong. Well, she says she calls them mom and dad. If she feels like at a certain point people outgrow mommy and daddy, go for it. I'm never going to outgrow mommy and daddy because that's who they are to me. They my mommy and my daddy. I don't give a damn how old I get. They mommy and daddy to me. But if you feel like at a certain point you felt like you outgrew it, go for it. I don't think any of them. I think Tawanda and Traci are truly close, but I think that is it. I think that's it. I don't think any of them are very close. I don't think any of them are legit close. I think Tawanda and Trina are. But that's it. Wasn't it Tamar, the sister that told Traci she was dead to her anyway? And I get that. You have your opinion. Yeah, but people say, okay. People say stuff out of anger. People say stuff, but I don't think she meant it. I think she meant it when she said it, but I don't think she meant it in that long. I don't think she meant it like that. And like I said, I think she meant it when she said it. But that's why we got to be careful how we treat people when they're here, because when they're gone, we can't do nothing with it when they're gone. That's why we got to be careful how we treat people. I think Tony blames them for going broke and not having a bigger career. I think at one point in time she had resentment. I don't know if she has resentment now as much as I think she has found a way to get them out her pockets. For the exception of the mama, I think the rest of them have gotten out of her pockets. And I think she's good with that. Yeah. Yeah. So that was pretty much it, child. That was pretty much the show. I mean, the episode. Like I said, this week I ain't had no beef with Tamar. Was the only one that I didn't have no beef with on this episode. That don't mean it won't change. We do a week by week round here, week by week. But I'll be back in about an hour so that we can talk about these Potomacas, child. Whoo, listen, at this point, I don't think anybody even care about the season no more, child. We want to get to Wendy. I don't think nobody care about the season at this point, honey, but we're going to get into it in about an hour. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.